Alec, welcome back to our month of horror, the Halloween hoedown.
I'm getting ready to do some spooks and scares right now. I'm gonna eat some dreams as
Yeah.
I do
Hold on, one
as I
sec.
do.
One sec.
Okay.
Hey Siri, Lumos. Whoa! Look at me go. My
My
girlfriend
phone
showed
my
me
phone
this
could
little
do that
trick.
too.
Hey
Oh,
Siri,
did you
Knox.
not know did you not know you could do that?
I never knew.
Yeah, I think. Okay, Google.
Okay,
Lumos.
Google. Huh? Lumos?
Knox.
I'm the one who knocks. Bitch, I'm Harry Potter.
I am the one who knocks. That's pretty cool, Harry Potter, but Gengar can do it too.
That's crazy. You would think you
Eat
were
some dreams. I'm gonna
ditto. You
eat
would
some
think you were
dreams.
ditto with how you were copying my shit just now.
Yeah, maybe I was doing some copying. I'm gonna my Jigglypuff that's sleeping over there. I'm gonna eat some dreams.
I got my
Anyway,
tie on and
Zach,
I'm ready to go to Hogwarts.
Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry.
Wingardium Leviosa.
Leviosa. Oh wait, that's not from the movies. Okay.
All right, Alec.
I don't
Well,
even know.
yeah.
I was messing around with this for so long before, and I
You know
still
what?
can't figure out.
Yeah,
All right, Zach.
that looks perfect.
Looks perfect. I love it. He's
There you
perfect.
go.
Literally. Yeah.
So, each year we try to, whenever we can, we fit in a little horror themed video game in the mix. And
Yeah.
I'd actually previously played Little Nightmares for a Gents Challenge. I think it was
Oh,
last
okay.
year. We got a card for it and everything. I don't even remember. The Tarqaron cards.
I guess I didn't even remember that. Wow. Okay.
but
Wow. Okay. It shows you how much I'm paying attention here.
but yeah, I had said at the time it would be cool to review it, and
Hmm.
obviously I enjoyed it at the time, and so but I went into it, played through it again, and you played through it for the first time. So we're gonna talk about it.
Yeah.
Been a sequel, and there will be another sequel coming up next year. So I
Hmm.
mean, there's more out there. If we enjoyed it, we could definitely get into that. But yeah, I think
For
very
sure.
highly of this game. I think it's really got a lot of great stuff to appreciate in it. But I want to hear what you think.
I love this game. I sat down and I beat it in one sitting.
Yeah,
I
it's
thought
one
it
of
was
those.
wonderful. Um, I streamed it to my friend Dubs, who we've had on the channel before. I did a screen share and played through the whole game with him watching, and he also really enjoyed it. Um,
It's so
and
cool, isn't it?
it's great. It's such a wonderful, imaginative, cool little game, and I just love all of. So for those of you who don't know, it is like a puzzle platformer. I would say
Hmm.
is what I would call it. The puzzle elements are fairly light. I don't. There's nothing too overly heavy in terms of the
Yeah,
puzzle aspects,
very
but
light, and there's
it
like
does require you
minor
to.
like stealth aspects to it.
It requires you to just think a little bit about like some physics. Most of the puzzles are very like physics or switch based, so they're very like very simple.
Yeah,
I don't think there's anything overly complicated here, but um, it's great. It's really effective at ramping up the spooks and the thrills, and
yeah.
I
Let's do
think
non-spoilers to begin
I
with, and then we'll get into it.
sure. Sure, yeah. I don't want to spoil anything for first and foremost. Um, and yeah, I mean, it's a nice, short, sweet, and kind of frightening little game,
Hmm.
and it's great. I mean, it lives up to its name, I think. You know,
Yeah, and it's really
so
effective at making it creepy, and the music's
mm,
great. I love
mm,
the kids humming. That's that's
very
awesome,
cute. I
and I love
I
the weird
liked.
enemy designs. Like, there's a lot
Oh
of cool
yeah,
stuff.
oh yeah. Everything just like feels like weird and like familiar, but also not at the same time. there's to me, I think one of the things I think I may have read a review that stated something like this, but I have to agree, and it's like it's a game that is it like reminds you of stuff you were kind of afraid of when you were a little kid,
Mm.
and reminds you that you're still kind of frightened of those things, like hands reaching out after you in the darkness, and shapes and things in the distance that you can't quite see, dark shadows moving
Oh
around,
yeah.
loud noises that spring up. It's just it's so good at really really effective, and it doesn't like everything feels earned. There's nothing like overly there's no like cheap jump scares, I don't think. It feels very
No.
like within the world and everything. I really liked the whole time. I mean like it's probably past like the first little section of the game, I just started saying, and I couldn't stop saying, I love this game while I was playing it. This game is so cool. It's so great. And I
Yeah.
just couldn't stop like praising it really. The whole time I was playing it. I really enjoyed it quite a lot.
Yeah, it's quick. Like it's one
So
of those things where it doesn't really have to explain much. It's just like you kind of figure out how you move, and then like once you know how
mm,
to move, it's like you're not gonna. There's not gonna be like new skills and stuff you have to master.
right.
It's just you got it. It's basic, but you just appreciate it's atmospheric and how it sets the tone. And there's really cool artistic stuff it does with like the angles, the cinematography of it all, and like
But there's
there's
like film grain. That was something
yeah.
that I noticed right away. I was like, there's like film grain. I'm like, this is really cool. Like it doesn't feel like uh it's not like overly heavy on the noise, but like it's noticeable enough if you're looking for it, but it's also subtle enough that if you're not paying attention, you wouldn't necessarily know like why it looks so organic and like kind of grainy to a certain degree. But like that to me adds to the depth of the image and that just the general atmosphere of the whole thing. So I wonderful artistic choice by doing that. So
Yeah, and they just have a great like cinematic parts where like, it'll go into like this huge like
mm,
extreme wide shot, or there'll actually be
mm,
certain parts of the game where they use the framing in like fun and creative ways too, like just how you're
yeah.
in the camera, and it's cool. They did stuff like even little stuff like there's the heartbeat with the controller vibrating. It's like really
Mm,
effective.
yeah. Love that. Love that.
And I found the sound design in general in this game to be really solid. Like just the simple little sounds, and then also like the enemies have all these creepy, like weird
Mm,
sounds they make.
yeah, they really do. It's great, especially because like you can hear them off in the like off in the distance. Sometimes it's so creepy. It's
Hmm.
really great. Um, there was one time where it was like I don't even know if I'd encountered the first like major enemy yet, but all of a sudden I heard like a boom off in the distance, and I was like, "What the heck was that?" It's like I missed something. I don't know what that was, but I did not like whatever that noise was. Just was.
Yeah, and then
Um,
as the game progresses,
yeah.
there's just more and more stuff going on in the background, and like things happening
Yeah, for
behind you.
sure.
It's like
Yeah.
pretty creepy stuff. I mean, even just
Yeah.
right in the beginning, it sets the tone immediately when you're just like, there's a guy hanging. Like that's the first room you
Oh
go into.
yeah. I'm like, well, this is
Mhm.
this sure is something here that's going on here. I was like, nice.
Yeah.
It's also interesting because like that guy was super. They did a really good job of also setting like you are very small. You're a very
Yeah.
small thing in a world that is much larger than you. Because that guy, even if those sort of like force playing with perspective there a little bit, the guy is like way taller than you, way bigger than you. So it's like, oh, this place is scary.
Yeah, it does a really good job of making it like
Hmm.
super effectively creepy with how small you are compared to everything else. Like
Hmm.
where you could very easily see that like taken in a comical way with even some of these enemies are crazy looking in the face, but it like the way you do with the soundtrack, the sound, everything comes together to make it like no, this is creepy.
Yeah.
You're not gonna be laughing. Any laughing you're gonna have is some nervous laughter. It's like,
It's pretty accurate. Yeah.
but yeah. So
Um.
before we get into the spoilers, I just want to say I definitely recommend it. I think you should try it.
Yeah.
It's the one
Big
you don't want to
recommendation
watch
for me too.
anything before just experience. You can literally do it in 1 or 2 sittings for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. There's definitely some definitive breaks where you could decide to put it down for a little bit, but like I was glued to the whole thing. It took me probably about like 3 hours to beat it. So it's
Yeah,
just a nice, short, perfect little game. I think just
it's weirdly
to enjoy it. So
addictive. Like even playing it the second time through, I was like still super
mm,
captivated by it. But yeah, so let's get into
yeah,
some spoilers. Spoilers.
yeah. Let's go spoilers.
Isn't it so cool how the progression, like this dark progression that your little
Yeah.
character goes down? It's so cool.
Well, I love the. That's great. Another thing that I love is the subtle. So, from what I understand, that like if you looked up anything about this game ahead of time, you would know that it's set on a ship called the Maw,
Mm.
or like a floating ship, or a floating island or something. I didn't know anything about this game.
No, me either.
And to me, that was so much more effective to not know where exactly it was set,
Yeah.
because the game does subtle world building to let you know where you are. It's better to be like in the kid, in the kid's point of view. I don't remember her name. She does have a name. Again, that's
Was
not
it?
explained in the game at all.
Isn't it like so? One word. It's like six,
Yeah,
something like that.
6. Yeah, I think that's it. Yeah,
Yeah.
lots of the subtle little world building to ramp up. Like, okay, so you're in this area called the prison. You go through that, and then it's like this, clearly the keeper of the prison, this long, lanky armed monstrosity that has like half a face and like just like a bald bowl, like as its the rest of its head. Can't see,
Yeah.
but it can hear you, and it's so grotesque and bizarre and weird, and I loved it. I loved him. He was great. What a great like opening antagonist, really. So
Yeah. And it's just so cool how you're in this little kid's perspective, basically, and you're
mm,
like, oh, we're controlling this little innocent girl. But it seems like going through this crazy nightmarish world, and then you just see her like getting hungry and like the retching her
yeah,
stomach, and
like,
it just
dang, I
gets
need something to
worse and
eat.
worse. Starts out, they just toss some food in there for her, and then she like gets
Mm.
food, and then it
Yeah,
quickly.
someone down in the prison, an adult, but looks like that's down in the prison, felt bad for you and tossed you some food, but then
Yeah.
went back to like the fetal position basically, and I was like, oh,
Yeah, and that's cool
but this
stuff
place
too,
is
where it's like there's a
bad.
weird mystery
Yeah,
to it, and you have these characters that are
yeah.
just like in cages. You can't do anything about it. They're just in
Mm.
misery in the background. You have to keep walking.
You walk past a lot of small children, much like yourselves, that are all in like in like containment as well. They're all in
Yeah.
like cribs basically, but they're like prisony cribs where it doesn't feel very very friendly.
Yeah, so then
Um,
along the way, they butter you up by you're seeing these little
mm.
buddies. You see them, you give them a
Oh,
hug,
the little gnomes. Oh my god, that was like the cutest thing in the world. I was like, yeah, give them
give
a
them a
hug.
hug, give
It's
them
like,
a hug,
aw.
and man, they
And then
they they get you.
you,
They
yeah, I
get
was
you.
like, kind of knew it was happening. Because it's like, all right, I've already gotten a taste for flesh because I ate a rat.
Look, he's holding it
So
up
I ate a
for you. He's
raw
holding up
rat.
some meat for
Yeah,
you, helping you out here.
and then
And then
grab
just
it by
the
its neck and
freaking
chomp into it.
like the
Yeah,
musical, the sting with it,
mm,
like it was almost like out of
yeah,
Midnight Mass, like where they
yeah.
start biting
Like,
in.
very great score there for sure.
I'm like Jesus.
Um, yeah,
And
but I
then
also like just
mhm.
whatever these weird abominations are that you're up against, because the Chef brothers are wearing masks. You
Yeah.
don't even know what's underneath them. They're wearing like human faces as
Ugh.
masks, and you don't realize it quite at first because their faces are all sort of saggy. But then there was like one time where I never got like a good look at it, but there was one time that one of them was like chopping up something, and then I saw it like literally lift its face up and like wipe underneath, and then let it back down. I was like, ah, I don't like that at all.
And there's
Um,
those fuckers are creepy. They're
yeah,
creepy, and they're making noises. They're breathing heavy.
yeah, yeah. One thing that's really vindicating about that section though is because you had to really be careful with the prison keeper because he could grab you from like all sorts of different perspectives. But oh, by the way, love chopping his arms off. I was like, I better chop this guy's arms off
Yeah.
with his stuck under the door. I was like, this better happen. Um, and but it's great because once you get to that section, they can see you, and they're much faster than that other guy too. But if you get up high, they can't get you, and they're all like, oh, they're all like sad because they can't get to you.
Yeah.
But the final chase at the end where you're running away from both of them is like so good because they're like throwing stuff at you, and I'm like, this is great. I
Yeah,
love
and it's
this.
timed really
This is
nice.
so
So you have to be just in front of them.
yeah,
It's
it's
great.
so
It's
good. I
cinematic.
like yeah, very good at like kind of open stealth sections where you kind of have to like navigate your own way, but then this sort of set piece where you have to like run away from stuff.
Yeah, and then
Um,
like you're not really doing much. You're just running in one direction and jumping, but it feels like you're
yeah,
doing a lot. It's like I just got out of there
yeah.
like barely.
Oh well, the whole third section of the game is all about that,
Oh
all
yeah,
about running away from the
the freaking
fattening passengers
freaks.
of this vessel.
Now
Just
tell me,
so
does that not give you Studio Ghibli vibes? Like,
oh, 100%. So as soon as this is I think my favorite section of the whole game
oh yeah,
is the like ultimate reveal of what it's been hinting at that you were on a ship
hmm
and it kind of goes to the out you go on the outside and you have to climb like the chain of like the anchor you have
yeah,
to like climb up and you see them shuffling on
yes,
to the
yes,
vessel and I'm like it's so good it feels like a movie it's
yeah,
so good at doing that and I'm like this is creepy what are they call coming on for and then is and then as you're kind of progressing through the area, you see like the tall woman who I think I must have missed the beginning of the game. I must have been like looking away or something because I think she appears at the very beginning, sort of in
they,
like a
sh-
weird vision.
they show her in the very beginning, and that's it till the
Yeah,
very end. Just a quick
but
little
then you
vision.
see her and she's like towering over the guests, and I was like, oh, there's a very like Japanese feel to this. I
Yeah.
said to Dubs. And sure enough, the next room I go into, it's like lanterns and like Japanese architecture. And I was like, nailed it, called it right there. I was
Yep,
like,
and like
there's something very
these
it's
fucking
so it's so
these
spirited away. It
yeah, Spirited
hurts.
Away.
It's
There's
great.
these slobs eating
Yeah.
their freaking food, and then they're
Yeah.
reaching for you. And then when they got the masks on, I'm
Yeah.
like, okay, they went
Yeah.
full Ghibli.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it did. It's great.
I love
I'm
it.
like, hey, this is like shameless at this point, but like I'm here for it.
I
This is like
love it.
really good like borrowing of an idea. I think it's they use it to great effect because they make it as like kind of horrifying as it is in that except better because you have to actually run away from them yourself.
Yeah,
And they're like sliding towards you like that's
yeah.
so creepy. It's
Really
so weird.
well done. And it's just smooth. It's smooth animation. It's like
Mm.
it's. I really love the whole direction of this game. And so, what did you think about ultimately it all comes to a head in this like final showdown with the woman? How did you think about that
So
whole sequence?
so the one thing I really liked about that is that's another thing that was sort of foreshadowed because if you get to like one of the little off areas where it was like this eye and then you'd seen this eye imagery all over the place. Still don't really know what that's about. It's used in the title.
Hmm.
It's used in like the logo. So I don't know if that's something that's maybe explored a little more in the next game. It seems like this is the organization or whatever. I don't know exactly. Whoever's running this ship, they all seem to have this eye imagery around all of the stuff. But you turn this machine on, and you click through different areas of the ship, and you get to this one area where it's like this elaborate, lush study, and you hear a woman singing, and like you click the next one, and it's like closer to a door. It's like a
Mm-hmm.
closed door, and you hear her singing louder, and then it clicks off. But if you activate it again, it like zooms in on this mirror
Hmm.
that you have no context for. You're like, I don't. What is this? What is that? Like
Mm-hmm.
that seems like that's going to be really important. And sure enough, that mirror is your key to ending her sorcerous ways
Sure
and
is.
trying to kidnap you.
Sure
So,
is. Like I thought that was a really cool
yeah.
sequence. The whole thing with the mirror. I feel like they
Oh
maybe
yeah.
this is one sequence where maybe they could have done a little more, like made it a little more, because I felt like I got through it pretty easily, and it was done pretty
Yeah.
quickly for how like you basically become like this all powerful being after.
Yeah.
So I feel like maybe you could have had somehow given a little more difficulty to it or made it more elaborate, but I still thought it was really
I
cool.
think it would I think it also would have been really fun is if at the in the last sort of walk up that they'd actually given you the ability to just with like a button press or something to do that like sucking power that she does to like absorb the life force of all the slobs. I think that would have been kind of neat, but like honestly, it's not really a criticism so much as so it's like that's maybe something they could have done, um, but like
Yeah,
what they did was great because you just have that kind of like walk up the steps of
right.
the
Long
outside of the
walk.
ship, basically. Yeah.
And so like that ending leaves me like really curious where the second one goes, because
Yeah, same.
it really plays up the whole progression from like this little innocent girl to like this dark turn, and then now at the end it's just like she's God, like bringing their taking their souls. So it's like
Yeah.
what are they gonna do in the second one? I don't know. I know I see on the box
Yeah.
art there's always like a guy next to her, but
Yeah.
I don't know.
So I know, I mean, that you can tell there's the sequel bait of the game is basically the after the end off the end title, it's like you're up on it's like she's up on the ship, and then when it says like the end, and then when you press start or whatever, you hear another tanker coming in. So it's like, okay, so that's gonna have something to do with getting off the ship and
Mm-hmm.
going elsewhere, probably. But and I think the DLC. So I didn't get a chance to play the DLC because I bought the PAL version of the game, physical. I have it off somewhere else. I didn't grab it. Um, and unfortunately, what I did not know is that the game it didn't come with that stuff on the disc itself. It came with it with a voucher, and because I have a North American PlayStation account, PSN account, the code doesn't work.
Hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
also, unfortunately, if I try to buy it, which I buy, so I was like, okay, that's fine. I can just buy it then. But I bought it, and it still doesn't unlock it in my version of the game
Ooh.
because I have a PAL region version of the game in the disc player. So I'd have to buy the whole game over again digitally in order for me to.
Damn.
And it's just like, I was like, that left a bad taste in my mouth. So I was like, that's too bad. That's my bad for not understanding how that worked. I guess I didn't realize that is how that works. But
Hmm.
in any case, yeah. So it's like, well, whatever. Win some, you lose some, I guess.
That
But
would be cool to play that. Um, I've never been much.
so from my understanding.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. I was gonna say, from what I understand of the DLC, though, to go back to that point, is it's kind of like an interquel. So it takes place during the events of the game. It's like you play like
Uh,
another little boy or something. I think so.
oh.
Yeah,
Okay. Because
yeah,
I've just never been much of a DLC person. Like even in the games I really like, and I'm like, oh, I'll play the
yeah,
DLC for that. I just never get around to it. But this is one
yeah,
that would definitely be cool to do. And then of course we have Little Nightmares 2 out there. I don't know how it's
yeah.
received. I don't know if it's like viewed on the same level or not. But I'm curious because like I feel like they got lightning in a bottle with this one. So
Yeah, I don't know. I'm guessing because there's a third one coming out, it must have at least done
it's done well.
financially pretty
Yeah.
well. So, um, but yeah, this is a really special little game. I think that, um, yeah, I mean, I really liked it
Really
a lot.
is.
So,
I would definitely be down to review the second one sometime. and then
Sure,
the third
sure.
one do the whole trilogy. Sure. I mean, like
Yeah.
if nothing
Yeah.
else, we'll definitely be able to get some cool like we already know they're great at doing stuff cool tonally and like get some new designs of like weird enemies. I'm sure it'll be
Mm.
cool to see what else they do now that it's kind of like the mystery unfolding is there's still a lot of mystery obviously, but the main mystery and where this girl ends up, it's like you can't really go down that route. So it's like, okay, we gotta see what they can do now.
The vagueness of the story is actually just really great in I would say just a really strong aspect of the game too, because like you can kind of build in, you can sort of fill in the gaps of the world in your brain, and that to me almost makes it scarier.
Yeah,
The fact that they don't really explain it, and I think further world building will be good, but I hope they continue to keep it somewhat vague because I think that's kind of some of the magic of why the game works. So
yeah, because like, you know how things operate. You know, creepy shit's going on, but you don't really know why. It's like, okay, I guess this
yeah,
just like we're navigating this weird,
yeah.
creepy boat, and like who knows what we're even going towards. It's like, all right,
Yeah, it's like
but
why are they serving this meat to these passengers? Like why are they like hundreds of them are shuffling on this ship to eat meat for some reason? And it's just very weird.
does
It's
it
like
really matter? No, it
yeah,
all adds to it. Where
yeah,
it's like weird shit's
yeah,
going on here. It's like,
yeah,
all right, but all
yeah,
right.
for sure.
So, what
Yeah,
score do we give Little Nightmares?
this is like a.
So
So if
good.
I do have to give a criticism to it, I
Okay.
before I score it, I will say one of the things that I did not like about the game checkpoint system was pretty trash. Um, there would be things that you would do and accomplish, and then if you accidentally like fell off a ledge or died,
Mm-hmm.
even though like it seemed like you might have been doing something to warrant a checkpoint, it would be like, actually you're going like back to the previous room, and like all your progress is gone now.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, okay. So I didn't really like that very much. I thought that was, it was almost like it was sort of buggy because there would be times where
Yeah.
it would
Maybe.
drop me like off like pretty recently after the like one of the last major things that I'd done in terms of like puzzle solving. But sometimes it didn't do a very good job at that. So
Yeah. Well, it was
um
cool that they really did creative stuff with the angles and everything. There were definitely moments
mhm.
where the depth perception was weird, and I
Yeah,
would just straight up walk off. Where like
yeah.
there was one part where
Oh well,
where I like swung into this area and it just flew right off immediately.
oh yeah. One of my the parts that Dubs and I were like dying laughing was like I like dove through a door that was like collapsing or something. It was like sort of towards the beginning when you're running away from the prison keeper,
Hmm.
and there's a place where you run in through this door, and I sailed over the door, and then like the screen transitions to the next room, and I'm like flying down into a pit.
So
I'm
you,
like, and
I
I like froze for like a split second, and then I just could not stop laughing.
honestly that
It was
might be
very
the
funny.
same thing I went through
Yeah, we
because
were
it
just
feels
like,
like, oh, you're supposed to keep the momentum going,
yeah,
obviously, right? And
and
it's
it's
just
just
no.
like you, you dove off.
So you do
It was
get
very
some
funny.
laughs in this game, not
Yeah,
intentionally.
yeah,
So,
yeah. Some moments of levity. So,
hmm so what
but
are you thinking with that criticism? Where does it put it?
this is probably like it's like an 8.5, I think. The game is really good, really solid.
Hmm.
Um, I think I like small little games like this. I think it has a lot of artistic merit. I think its gameplay is simple but fun. You don't have to be too complex
Yeah,
to still make a really memorable and worthwhile experience. And yeah, I thought it was really good. So that's what I'd say.
I agree, but I will give it a 9. I
Okay.
think in terms of what game it is, it's like it's excellent. It's like,
Mm,
it's an indie game, right? But
mm,
you get so much out of it versus like some other games where you might play for hours and hours, and it's like I can't list off all the things I listed off with this, and I'm like, it's really cool what they did with the direction and how it was all put together thematically and tonally. So I think I want to give it some credit for that.
I think its art style really does bring it a long way because it's very unique. I can't think of another game that I've seen that looks quite like this. It almost takes
Right.
like German expressionism. It sort of has like elements of that in terms, especially in terms of like its character designs,
Hmm.
are very like weird and exaggerated and like off kilter. Um, but yeah, it's very unique. I can't really think of a look of a game that's really quite like this. It's like it almost feels claymation at times too. Like it's really not, but like there's elements of that I can kind of feel in some of in terms of some of how it's just generally like how character models look and things like that. So
Hmm.
yeah, I mean, I don't blame you for that score. I think it's worthy. It's a worthy game.
Yeah.
So
So that gives us the Tarqaron score 8.75. Little
yeah, it's
Nightmares.
great.
Yeah.
Great little game.
Can't wait to
So
play the second one. It's like I don't know when we'll be able to do it. I'd love to play it soon, but it's also like,
yeah,
a great horror or Halloween time game too.
yeah,
And I want to be able
yeah.
and we won't be able to fit it this year on our in our month, so oh. But yeah.
I'll have to see. Maybe we could do a little November plus kind of thing
Hmm.
for it. Maybe I don't know.
Okay. We'll see.
We'll
We'll
see.
see what happens. But
Yeah.
yeah, so definitely check it out and let us know what you thought below in the comments. And if you leave a comment, we'll be sure to read it on the next episode of the Tarkaron podcast. All right. And Alec, what
If
video
you
would you recommend our viewers watch next?
go check out our review of Luigi's Mansion 3.
Hmm.
Looking for more spooky games, something to put you in the mood. Do that. It was a fun game. We had a good time talking about that game.
Yeah.
I will also say, if you skipped ahead to the scores and some of this, do yourself a favor and don't spoil yourself about this game. Like, just know as little as possible. That's why I tried to stay as vague as possible at the beginning too. It's like know as
Yeah.
little as possible about it as you can.
It's one of those
So
things where, like, if you watch someone play it and then you play it, you've really lost most of the experience. Like there's subtle cool
yeah,
things you get from playing it, but really you want to see it unfold because it's more like it's not like you're there so much for like the crazy gameplay. You're there to see the experience
yeah,
unfold around you, basically. So
for
it's cool.
sure. Yeah,
All right, and thank you for watching. If you enjoyed, subscribe to the channel for more. We got a lot more reviews. We got movie reviews, TV reviews, game reviews, discussions, survivor reactions. We got a lot on this channel. A lot of some
we do.
games, some more Halloween shenanigans coming on the rest of the month. All right, so come
That's
back.
right.
Come back soon. Like the video if you enjoyed it. Hit the notification bell and click the link in the description for our social media. All right.
All right.